We're going to start our handicapping tutorial today with the 8th race at Calder over the weekend. It's the Grade 2 La Prévoyante, 1.5 miles on the turf in a graded stakes race. And I'm going to look at 3 factors in this race that really help me handicapping: class, pace, and trip. And we'll begin with class. It takes us to this horse right here, Barancella, for trainer Bobby Frankel. Now, when we talk about class, it means horses who've been facing better company than anybody else in a race and having success at that level. And with Barancella, we see the Grade 1 E.P. Taylor. Group 1 or Grade 1 stakes race is as good as it gets in horse racing. And this horse has been there a couple of times. In fact, in the E.P. Taylor last year as well, this horse second, beaten a length most recently, and was a factor there last year as well, beaten less than a length. So this horse has raced and been a factor at some of the highest levels of racing. So Barancella, the class of the race. There's another class horse in this race as well, and it is right next door in, where are you? Royal Highness, who is the other class horse for Christophe Clement. You look at the Grade 2 Long Island Handicap race there, and then against the boys. This is a race for fillies and mares at Calder. She raced against the boys in the Turf Classic Invitational Grade 1 and ran third to English Channel, who is one of the best turf horses in the country. So she absolutely is tops of the class along with Barancella in terms of class in this race. So we'd start our handicapping with those two as maybe the 2 most likely winners. From there, we move on to pace. And if you can ever identify who the speed of a race is going to be, especially if they're going to be by themselves, you have a great advantage as to find out who might win this one. Or pace in here, not a lot of it. It starts out with the horses in the first 2 post positions. Safari Queen has pace, and you can see in this most recent race from her, she wasn't right on the lead, but she was right there just sitting off it. And in the past, you see all those half length off the pace, 1.5 lengths off, a head off the pace. She sits very close to the pace. And in a race like this where she's stretching out and going longer, she's going to be even closer and be right there. The only other speed in this race, as we move up to another horse, is Dorafar. And Dorafar, you see in this race, 2 starts back. All those ones right there, I mean, she was right on the lead. Now, class for her might be a concern because she has not been facing the best of company. But in terms of pace, those are the 2 horses that are going to be going to the front in this race. The final thing that we'll look at is trip. And if we can identify a horse that had a troubled trip and maybe an excuse for why they didn't run all that well in their last start, well, that might be a good way to find some value in a race. And we find that framing perfect with weighted out. So look at that most recent race, Long Island Grade 2. And as we pan to the right, we see started out, didn't break all that well, and then didn't finish the race. Well, what happened? We come all the way over here. Trouble lines will tell you what happened, and certainly there was trouble. Lost rider last turn. So that constitutes trouble and was an excuse why waited out, did not run all that well. And when we look back, let's go back to the PPs and see where she finished before that. She won by 2 lengths in a stakes race. So she's a filly of some quality that if she does not have a troubled trip and has more racing luck next time out, she perhaps can be a factor. So 3 things we look at: class, pace, and trip can hopefully help us identify who are going to be some of the most likely winners of any race we look at.